Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another gifted upload. We're here again. I'm not falling off for another 13 days. I wanted to take some time to develop this video, but today I want to talk about Russell Westbrook. A lot of the conversation around Russ has been very annoying. And by the way, just for full background, I'm a Warriors fan. However, I love Russell Westbrook. The battles that he's had uh in OKC versus Golden State and even other teams in the league. Like, I always loved the way that he had like this chip on his shoulder. He was a constant motor and did a lot of positive things as far as competition against other people and other teams. I always respected that. And he's just like a very aggressive downhill player. I just love that type of style. The issue that I have with this Russell Westbrook situation is there's no accountability on both sides. And what I mean by that is there are too many extremes in my estimation. There's people that are saying Russell Westbrook cannot be in the NBA anymore, and I just think that it's stupid. And obviously we highlight those comments and we should probably toss them, but the popular discourse has been he can't play in the NBA no more. And what that really means in my estimation is that because LeBron James is on that roster and Russell Westbrook isn't the perfect fit with LeBron James, his supporters, and it's not everybody, right? It's not everybody, but there's a good amount of people that think because he can't make it work with LeBron James, he should not be in the NBA. I really don't like that viewpoint, and I do want to say that there does need to be accountability on both sides. So it's that side, but it's also the diehard Westbrook supporters as well who can't admit that he had a very poor season last season and he needs to improve dramatically. There are some people who put all of the issues and the blame on LeBron or on the front office. However, if you watch Russell Westbrook play basketball, a lot of times he would beat his defender, get to the spot he needed to get to, but was not converting layups at an unreal percentage. And he's a lot better than that. And he has to play better in that regard. But also his turnovers and his like poor, inefficient jump shooting and his shot selection at times really hurt the team, on top of the fact that his defense was not there off the ball at all whatsoever. And even his point of attack was not well either because he was getting blown by a lot. But notice how I can outline all of those things about Westbrook and still be honest. Like, the idea that he can't be an NBA player, I think we really fall in love with the anti-stats thing. I feel like it's so easy to be like, oh, triple doubles, what do they matter? We're just trying to, like, I can understand all of that. I really, really can. But at a certain point, we see players be so great and be so freakish. Um, I think LeBron James is a prime example. Like we're so used to seeing people put up these monster stat lines and we just say, "Oh, they're just stat lines. They're not like they don't tell the whole story." And they don't, right? Stat lines do not tell the whole story. However, at a certain point, bro, you have to look at what a player is putting up and say that has value in the NBA. And it does. Russell Westbrook still put up 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists in a poor season that he had. Objectively, it was a poor season. But the idea that he cannot fit on an NBA roster off of one bad season by Russell Westbrook standards, I'm not comparing him to the rest of the league. By his standard, he played terrible. And even by league standard, he played terrible. But I'm just saying, the point I'm making is to do that off of one season is crazy to me, and it's too much of an extreme to hop on. I think that the dialogue around him on Twitter and on other platforms has really been toxic. Almost every day you hear something about him being really, really bad at basketball, which was kind of the case last season. That's fair, but there hasn't been any fair neutral ground with him at all. It's just been a lot of negativity, and I really don't like that for him, especially coming into a part of his career where now, if this upcoming season does not go well, there is a strong chance that his contract extensions or the next contract he signs won't be as lucrative or long because of the public opinion and how people are turning against Russell Westbrook at this stage of his career. I just think it's corny, and I'm against things like that spiral out of control. I'm all for trolling. I'm all for holding people accountable for their play. But at a certain point, I do just think that jokes get overplayed and things get super duper corny. I think a prime example of this is actually found in Westbrook's former teammate, Paul George. Paul George objectively played terrible in the NBA bubble. Terrible. I'm pretty sure at one point he was shooting 20% like from three. I'm pretty sure in the bubble series versus the Mavericks or some, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he was shooting like really, really abysmal. And to be fair, Paul George did put part of these expectations on himself when he named himself Playoff P, which is fair. And obviously, when you see him go out there and stink it up in the playoffs, you're gonna call it out. I can understand all of that, but then these people transferred that same negative energy, toxic stuff, whatever you want to call it. They transferred that same slander into an entire regular season for Paul George. There were multiple games that I saw in the Clippers regular season where Paul George would start the game struggling. He might be like 2 for 6, 2 for 7. And then if you go on Twitter, he would be the number one person trending on Twitter. And they're just bashing his name, calling him Playoff P, Way Off P, Piss P, like just all types of crazy names because he's shooting the ball bad. But then in that same game, when he starts out 2 for 6, but then drops 10 points in the second quarter, or he ends the game off with 30 and 10, like then it's just quiet. You then can't find any tweets. You can't find nobody talking about it, and they just move on. And they did this for an entire regular season. And the level of corny that is to attack him so much every single night, every regular season game has to be critiqued and held to this like weird standard to where if Paul George doesn't have a efficient 30 with 9 or 10 rebounds, he's just not a great player. He's bad. I just think that's stupid. And I think with Westbrook, there is a annoyance by a lot of people because Russell Westbrook talks. Well, no. He carries himself in a way to where he can come off as stubborn and not flinching and not really sacrificing. And I can understand the disdain people can have for that. But at the same time, we got to be honest and understand that jumping to this next extreme with Russell Westbrook is kind of wild. So I'm very interested to see how this pans out for him. Again, I do think this season is a very important season for him moving forward. Even if he does not get traded, they're going to have to figure out that situation. Objectively, the fit alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis was, again, not the perfect clear-cut fit. However, I still felt that in my mind, there were ways to make that work. If you used him as a off-ball screener, if he was more active when the ball is not in his hands, if he was able to run the pick and roll a bit more in their offense with Anthony Davis, using LeBron James as a spacer, as an off-ball cutter, I really feel like there could be some real positive things you could get out of that. And some people say that, well, they told him that last year and he didn't buy in. But to me, after having the season he had last season, even if that is true, with the new coach in Darvingham and Westbrook basically being in a contract year, if there's any year for him to bite the bullet and just do what I personally believe he can do, it would be this year. So that's what my eyes will be focused on. And that's what I'm really looking forward to from Westbrook and the Lakers in this upcoming season. But that's all I wanted to record about today. As a Westbrook fan, it hurts seeing all of this, but some of the slander is justified. I just don't want people to lose their minds in it and go too overboard. But I'll catch y'all in the next video upload. Again, make sure to tap in with the locker room. We are going to be again having these shows on Sundays and Wednesdays. All of the links are in the description. I will catch you guys in the next YouTube video. Peace.